So, what is neurofeedback? I still remember the first time I assisted in performing an EEG on a patient in the neurology ICU. We placed dozens of sensors all over the patient's head, and then something amazing happened. A visual graph of the brain's electrical activity appeared on a screen. I was so fascinated. Well, neurofeedback uses that same process, electroencephalogram or EEG. Sensors are placed on the scalp. They detect the brain's electrical activity, which I like to call the language of the brain. It speaks in this electrical data. And this is generated by your central nervous system. So neurofeedback is a very specialized and advanced form of feedback that gives this information back to your brain, or as I like to say, it talks to the brain in its own language. So the brain is then given an opportunity to receive this data and learn from it. When we are using an optimal brain, which is flexible and resilient, and that occurs as a result of brain training, we are able to smoothly move from task to task, constantly make decisions, responding and not reacting. The brain is what is called a self-organizing, dynamical, which means moving and changing system. So I love to use analogies to explain this process. One of my favorites is looking at yourself in a mirror. So suppose you have a stain on your shirt or even a small tear that threatens the integrity of the fabric, potentially damaging your shirt. You walk through your day unaware until you look in the mirror. Once you see the stain or the tear, your response is natural and immediate. You act to make an adjustment if you choose, whatever you choose, to remove the stain or mend the tear. For many of us, we have these persistent and consistent patterns of electrical activity, which line up with cognitive activity or thoughts that do not serve us. Our brain keeps a record of our past. All of our experiences are recorded. At any given moment, we are usually pretty unaware of our thoughts, whether we are ruminating about the past or worrying about the future, or whether we are distracted by multiple things or focusing on one unwanted thing. Much of the time, this is beneath the level of our conscious awareness. We're kind of on autopilot. The thing is that these persistent and consistent patterns, they matter. They don't call it the central nervous system for nothing. Everything comes from there. So having this mirror is a brilliant way for our brain to be able to snap out of it, in a sense, and then self-regulate and truly move towards optimal function.